What is going on, everyone? It is Tyler McKinney here. And hey, we are live and we're going to be talking about the draft. Yes, that's right. We finally made it to the USFL draft and I am totally excited. I hope that you're excited. We'll take a few minutes. We'll talk about things here before I actually start to break things down. We'll let people get a moment to get in here. Let me know in the chat who you are, where you're from, and if you're excited about the draft, and if you've been following it along, let me know what your thoughts are down in the chat. And listen, this is fun. I've been waiting for quite a while to be doing anything like this. I mean, it's really been since the XFL that we've kind of done anything like this and looked at anything like this. So, I'm excited. It's kind of a giddy type of a situation with it. As I look at the draft and everything, it actually went a bit better than kind of what I thought it would be. I thought with them not having it on any network, I thought that would be, kind of tough and hard, but really things just keep coming and the tweets keep coming and coming and coming. I've been following it on Twitter. I don't know, maybe if you want to tell me if there's a better way to do it than Twitter. That just seems to be the best way that I've found to kind of follow it and kind of go through and what they're doing. And they've just been blasting things, and this thing has been really, really fast paced. And right now we just finished up the 5th round, and it really is it's going fast, but they still have quite a bit of ground to get through tonight. So, as we're kind of looking at this, right now tonight we are in the middle of the offensive tackles, and we still have 7 more rounds to go. Right now we're in the 6th round, so we got a bit of time to get through here. So as I'm kind of going through evaluating things, it is a little bit different than what I thought. I kind of thought that maybe they might have, some younger guys to start things out with the quarterbacks, but hey, they, it was an interesting group, and looks like we have Primetime Fry in there. Hello, back at you. So prime time, if you got anything, want to talk about anything, it'd be kind of cool to see. Let me know, if where you guys are from. It's kind of cool to see where people are, around the world. You got me, a guy in Ohio, and that with it, watching this thing, following this thing. It's good to see you there. Hey, Fox Den, good to see you. I apologize if it seems a little late. I tried to start here at 9 myself, so I apologize if it came on a few minutes late with that. I tried to have it up right at 9 mine, so if it came up late for you, man, I apologize. So, and Siri wants to tell me what they found for me being late with that. So, yeah, I apologize with that, and I think my stream right now is sitting... sorry again, Fox Den. I apologize with that. I didn't really know that my latency with things, so apologize with that there. But anyways, let's go ahead and let's kind of continue on. Aldred, no Johnny Football yet. Let's see here. Midday. I'm probably butchering that, so I apologize. No Johnny Football yet. I don't think you're going to see Johnny Football in this thing. And actually, looking at all of this first round and the guys that were picked, a lot of guys I really didn't know, which was kind of surprising for me with that. Hey, it's Crispy. Hey, Crispy. What's the evaluation process they go through? I really don't know, and they really didn't actually come out and really say anything about the evaluation, process with these guys. They really just the guys they had. So you could go and you could sign up, and you could, to be part of the USFL, and if they wanted to sign a contract with you, they would sign a contract with you, and then you would be entered into the draft pool. And then after that, what would happen is that you would then then be entered into the draft, and the guys that are drafted will continue on with their contracts, and the guys that don't get drafted will get released from their contract. At least that's what we're seeing. But really, the coaches, they've been evaluating things themselves. We don't know what that is. Will you be streaming tomorrow? Unfortunately, tomorrow. So Wednesday nights, I usually actually am streaming for church. So normally I'll be there doing that. And I've got work during the day, working a day job. So I probably won't be able to live stream on Wednesday. And that hopefully I'll get some time to start breaking these things down, and let me know what you guys want to see with videos, and I'll try to get that stuff out with that. So no, Fox and I will not be streaming tomorrow. I'll tell you what, though. I can probably make like a 9 o'clock stream. I don't know. Another 9 o'clock tomorrow night, maybe, if we get enough people, that want to do it, and that maybe talk a little bit about it. With we can see where we go from there. Let's see here. Primetime Friday. I wonder what will the talent pool be great with the XFL 2023 relaunch. That is an interesting thing. As I've been looking at these, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring up the first round here real quick. So as we're looking at the first round here, I was actually really surprised with this. And the first thing that surprised me was that Shea Patterson went off the board first. I would have thought that Jordan Teamu would have been the first one that would have gone off the table. But that kind of shocked me that he wasn't the first pick overall with that. I will say I love the fact that Fox dove into the Fox community and really added them into this draft to have, the different celebrities from the different areas announce the draft picks. I thought it was just a great way to do things. It was really nice and really, really neat to me. That just gave it more of a exciting feel with this. I thought that this was going to be disjointed with having it only on social media, but actually it's really been a fun experience. I've been able to just sit there and we've gotten things, and we've been able to roll with things and that. So I've been pretty happy with the whole process. I don't know. Let me know down in the chat what your thoughts so far with the with that. Let's see here. Let's follow up with some of the chat here. I wonder, talent will be. The XFL is going to rock with The Rock. Yeah, it'll be interesting. They definitely are taking this a lot more serious than what I thought they were going to take the XFL. I thought the XFL was really going to die. We'll see what happens with it as we go. We still have quite a long ways to go before we get there, but I think it's pretty cool with that. Let's see here. Gary says is the new USFL owned by one person or entity, or does each team have its own ownership? Actually, it's all owned by Fox. So Fox owns it, and Fox Sports, whatever, they're the same thing. Fox owns all of the USFL. And so right now it is pretty much just a single owner. But I think what they're trying to do is what MLS has done. So MLS is kind of set up as to where it used to be just a one owner, and then they started bringing in all of these other teams and bringing in new owners or new team controllers, however you want to look at it. It kind of started out that way. Now it's moved to kind of really owners in Major League Soccer, and I think that the USFL is trying to take that approach with it. And if you heard reports before, you had A-Rod, who was reached out to as possibly owning one of the teams. And I think that you're going to have more of that as they go forward. But for the first couple years here, I think that you're probably going to see it just all be centralized with Fox. And then I think from there, if it is successful and does well, I think that they'll branch out. Now let's go ahead and let's go into the first round and first draft picks. Shea Patterson, first and foremost, this is a tough one for me. I kind of been wanting to root for the from the Michigan Panthers, but everything just keeps pushing me away because, listen, I'm a Buckeye. Now, granted, I am kind of wearing the Panthers type of colors today. With them going with Shea Patterson, I was really surprised with that for the first pick. But, I could see with a guy like Jeff Fisher around the helm, if, rein in Shea Patterson and, keep him under control. I think when he played for the Blues in the Spring League, I think that he did an actually decent job with them. Every now and again, he takes those risks. So he'll be like, forced into something, and he'll make a risky move, and sometimes it pays off, and there are other times where it doesn't. And I think that that's where you get into trouble with him. Now, the second pick is Jordan Ta'amu, and I think that this is a great pick for the Bandits. I think that he will flourish with Todd Haley. I think that is a good pick there. I think he's really going to elevate, them there in that setting. I think that he's like a lot of what everybody has said. He's, he right now is the top looking quarterback just because of the experience that he has. I don't necessarily think that he is the best quarterback in this, this draft, but I do think that he is probably the most noteworthy just because of the success that he had in the XFL. I will say, though, as the season kind of got on and we only had 5, I know we only had total of 5 games in the XFL, but you could tell that teams were starting to figure him out. They were starting to give him a bit of trouble, and you were starting to his Superman cape wasn't so great towards the end of it. Not that he necessarily did bad, but you definitely saw his inexperience there. And with his past couple years in the NFL, it'll be interesting to see where he takes that to the next level. But he's by far right now probably the favorite to be the best quarterback in the league so far. Now, moving on, Brian Scott, he was one that he impressed me when I was watching the Spring League, and they were, when they were first doing that, Spring League and watching things, to see him, step up and to play in the Spring League was kind of a really cool thing. He was a no-name to me, and he really stood out with just his moxie, the way that he played. He played with a chip on his shoulder. He was very accurate, elusive. I think that he's going to be an interesting guy. I think he's going to make this Stars team fun. There isn't really a whole lot with him outside of just that with it. I didn't really catch any of his time in the CFL or anything like that. And sometimes that doesn't it is good experience, but it sometimes doesn't always translate to the to the professional ball. Yeah, I know. Shea Patterson never beat Ohio State. That's the one thing that we definitely do have over him. So I do appreciate that with it. And then number 4. So Ben Holmes, this was one that just jumped out at me. I had never really, seen this guy, heard of this guy before. And usually, especially with quarterbacks, I'm usually I've kind of seen some of these guys before and heard their names and stuff with that. And, this is a guy who, small college, played really, really well there, and has been kind of one of those practice squad kind of a guy. So, he's just kind of been, floating around out there. I guess he played in, the indoor football league for the Rattlers. I'm kind of just going through pretty much his stuff here because I really never heard of him before tonight. So this guy must have shown them some real good stuff for the Generals to be picking him up and that with it. So interesting. Have any of you guys let me know down in the chat? Have you guys heard of him before? Because I would be really curious to see, who has and who's watched any game film on him. I've been trying to kind of go through and trying to look at some of these guys and see where they're at and look at some of their game film for the little bit of time that we've had on some of them and not really a whole lot. However, I will say putting him with Mike Riley, I think that's going to be a decent fit for him. Is Patterson any good? 6'1", glad to have you here. Appreciate you being here with us. Patterson, any good? Yes, he can be very good, very dynamic. However, he is a gunslinger that has a real tendency to make really bad decisions. To where I wouldn't be surprised if, he's a guy that'll have 3-4 touchdowns in a game, but also like 2 or 3 interceptions a game. He's going to make plays with his feet, but he's also going to take those chances that maybe some coaches might not want him to take. That's why I was really surprised with Fisher taking him, in that spot. So, let's see here. What else? Sorry, I'm kind of going through and, who's the best team? In your opinion, right now I haven't really looked at a whole lot of them. I've just been kind of taking, like I said, this is just a blitz of just constant, media flow and that with it. I don't know. Overall, I would say if we're going by what they've got. So far, I think with the coaches and who's got their teams, who's picking their teams, I would kind of venture to say, I think that I'm kind of curious to see what happens with the Stars are sticking out to me, the Bandits are sticking out to me, and maybe possibly the Stallions. This Alex McGaw, and again, this is the first time I've seen some of these guys. Like Ben Holmes, first time I've seen him. Clayton Thorson, first time. Not really the first time. He is a guy that he was at Northwestern, and I remember the Buckeyes playing him. He wasn't a whole lot there, but then again, are you hopping on the Jordan Ta'amu train? I'm not necessarily hopping on the train. I think that he is a really good talent. I think that we'll see what the NFL has done for him, if it's made him better or he just kind of was what he was in the XFL. Like I said, you kind of got to see, towards the end of the games with the XFL with him, you got to see kind of his just the areas where he needed to clean his game up, and you could see that he was definitely a young quarterback, and whether or not that him just making rookie young mistakes, or if it was really just, that those are just flaws in his game. Whereas Shea Patterson, it's like, the flaws in his game, and it's whether or not that Fisher can control him enough to get that down. Jordan Ta'amu, I think that he will definitely be one of the better quarterbacks, upper half, number 4 or higher, I don't think he'll be the best quarterback. Actually, out of all of these guys, the one that I've seen. So let's go and I'll tell the. So out of the quarterbacks that I've actually seen, Clayton Thorson, Brian Scott, Jordan Teamu, and Shea Patterson. I like Scott the best, and I would say then Jordan Teamu. Shea Patterson would come in a close third, and Clayton Thorson would come in a fourth. I haven't really seen Thorson play in any professional games, but I know he has been floating around the professional rings there for a little bit. And it's kind of interesting pairing him up with Kevin Sumlin. Sumlin's usually a guy who likes a more elusive quarterback. You would think Shea Patterson would have been the guy that would have fit his offense a lot more. Whereas Clayton Thorson's kind of more of a I would say from more of a traditional style of pro style of quarterback. So it's just interesting. And then you got Kyle Laletta and Alex McGaw and Kyle Slaughter. Alex McGaw was one that was really interesting for me because when I started looking at him, and he was the eighth. I'm sorry, not the eighth, the sixth overall pick. And this is a guy from Florida International. He played really well, but here's the thing: he was drafted. He was drafted by the Seahawks, and this is a guy who's floated around the NFL. So this has got me really thinking that this guy could be doing something there in Birmingham, and especially having him there with Skip Holtz. Skip Holtz is a pretty good offensive minded guy, and I would imagine. I think that they could do some really cool things there with him. I think that he's going to be kind of one of those shocker type of a guys for people. I think that this whole class of quarterbacks is going to be a little bit shocker. I think the names don't have the pizzazz that people were looking for, if that makes any sense. I don't think. Let's see here. But I don't. I think people are going to be a little underwhelmed with it, but I don't think that they're going to be disappointed once we actually get to football on the field. I've been really, really surprised with the guys that have some type of pro experience, and I think just about every one of these guys have been on some type of practice roster or anything like that. Okay, so let's get back to the chat here. Let's see here. See, are you hoping on the? Let's see here. After that, at 6'1", he was supposed to be be good until Jim Harbaugh got him. Yeah, I think that he ran into Jim Harbaugh's offense, and it wasn't a good fit there. And you could definitely tell if you watched him play for the Blues, you got to see a better version of Shea Patterson. And I think with his stops that he's made, I think he could be a better quarterback than what he was there at Michigan. And like I said, it was really a weird situation there because Jim Harbaugh was he's a pro-style guy, been a pro-style guy, and was dipping his hand into the spread offense and really didn't know how to run a spread offense. And it's like you take you try to make something that it's not. And I think that they're finally figuring out how to modernize their offense there at Michigan. But it was a struggle because I think that Shea Patterson just really didn't fit there with it. Looks like the Breakers are in the league. Are they in Boston, New Orleans, or Portland? Well, actually, they will be in Birmingham. All of it's going to be in Birmingham. But they're going with New Orleans brand with that, Gary. So I don't know, and it makes sense for it to be down south because right now they're the least restricted, and it's going to give you the best opportunity to be able to play games, especially since both Portland and Boston are both colder areas, especially in the spring. It makes more sense to put them there. I'm staking my season on the Breakers. Actually, this is one that I'm kind of really interested on. I think Larry Fedora is going to fit well in a pro style a setting. I don't mean like offense, but I just mean a pro style. I think that he's really going to fit real well in there. Yeah, we got to go Tampa Bay. Yeah, I think that they're going to do really well, Joseph Rodriguez. I'm glad to have you here. Let's see here. The Breakers aren't. Yeah, thanks, Foxden. Let's see here. Creepy Freak. Kyle Soler is a big dude. He's 6'4". The Vikings cut him a few years ago. Yeah, I noticed that he, floated around there, and that'll be interesting. Welcome to the Stoller, the Stolter house. Yeah, I didn't know about him either. Half of these guys I knew about before, but when I started looking at their pedigree, and a lot of these guys have been through a lot of different programs and been through the, kind of the ring with the NFL. Tama was a great pickup. Dude balled out in the XFL. Yeah, it was interesting. And I wonder, let me know down in the chat too. So this XFL and USFL things, do you think that we got a lot of guys from the XFL, especially the quarterbacks, if they signed up to play in the USFL and they just haven't been drafted yet, or if these are guys that that decided to hold out? Because I do know that this was a two-year contract deal, to where it was a 1-year contract, and if you played well, you did well, the USFL would pick it up for a second year, and the only way you would get out of it is if you got an NFL deal. That's how you would get, or they would release you. It'll be interesting to see where we go, with that. When I was looking at the guys, because they talked about this league being a younger league, and that they're not going to have a lot of the older guys. These quarterbacks that they picked are from the age of 24 to 28, so they really have stayed away from those older guys. But they definitely have gone with guys who have been around for a little while, and guys that have kind of made the rounds and are in a alternative football setting would be considered more of a veteran, as opposed to guys who would be fresh out of college. And let me know down in the chat if you've been following things, if if we're getting some of these guys who would still be college eligible this year. I'd really like to know, because I don't know the guys, and I'm kind of like, I was like scrambling to try to keep up with everything, but also, try to do some research on some of these guys that I don't know. What team you got? I don't know. So with the XFL, I never really picked a team, and with the USFL, I don't know if I'm going to pick a team or not. Like I said, going by logos and things like that, I kind of, it's a whole bunch of mixed things, because it's like hard for me to pick. If I go the Michigan Panthers route, because they will eventually be close to me. There's still that Michigan thing, and especially now with Shea Patterson, I like the Panther setup. I like their get up. It's kind of cool to me, as you can see, I'm already wearing the colors. But it's like, being an Ohio guy, it's kind of hard to do that. Tampa Bay, I kind of like the Bandits. It's kind of a cool thing. It's a cool setup. I like the whole Bandit thing, as I showed in my video when I was grading the uniforms, and that with it. Gamblers, I'm not really got anything there. The Breakers, I really, really like their setup. I like their get up. That would be, I would feel cool wearing that stuff. I was kind of a Larry Fedora guy when he was like up here, but I know he's kind of come down, and I'd like to see him get back up there again. There's just a lot of guys. I love Skip Holtz, Lou Holtz. So to kind of get off of the draft thing, I got to see Lou Holtz speak to a room of like there was probably about 200 of us in there, and it was like because one of my good friends, his dad was a high school football coach. We got to go with him and go see Lou Holtz speak. He if not the best, one of the best speakers I've ever seen speak. The man can talk for hours and hours and hours and keep your attention and just keep you entertained and just keep going and going and going and going. And it was really, really cool to be in a room full of high school football coaches and to have legend Lou Holtz speaking there. It was just a really, really cool situation with that. So yeah, I like the look of, again, the Stars. I'm not a Philly guy. The Generals, it's kind of cool with the stuff there. Not that with it. So I don't know. It's kind of like, I guess if I was leaning, it would be leaning like a Michigan, Bandits, Stars, or Breakers. You know, that's kind of where I would be. But, you know, you know, I don't know. You can kind of take it for what it is. Let's get back to some of the chats here. See, never heard of Ben Holmes. Kind of concerned, jealous that we didn't get Jordan. Slim Wim, who you like? What is your team? The Generals. Stars here. Okay, so Surfer Boy's got Stars. Glad to have you both here. I'm an Eagles fan, so kind of default. Haha. Yeah, I get you. There with it. I'm a Cowboys fan, as you can see back there. So, you know, nothing for Dallas. Breakers, baby. Well, it's Bandits. Glad to have you here. Carolina Fight Club, thanks for covering the draft. Yeah, and I don't know. I guess I'm more kind of just interacting with you guys than necessarily like covering what's going on. I mean, you know, we're Browns have passed by. Let's check and see. Let's just curious where we're at with things here. So we're in round 7. Let's see here. Charles Baldwin out of Youngstown State was just drafted. It's kind of cool. They had the Adeoye brothers were drafted, defensive ends. Both drafted in the first round of the defensive ends. I think that's pretty cool. Does anybody know if any college players have been drafted so far? That's what I want to know. If you guys got your thumb on, you know, got your finger on things with it, let me know in the chat if we've got any guys so far. Alrighty. Slim Wim Generals here. Okay. We got some good picks so far. Yeah, I think, like I said, I think they're doing pretty well. They would be one of where I'm leaning that would be one of the better teams. Tampa from St. Louis. I get your prime time. Yeah. See, it looks like the XFL will be getting better quarterbacks. I don't know. The reason Pip, the reason why I say that is because these guys are guys that have floated around and have spent some time in the NFL, and I think they might be a little bit better than what you think. And who knows? We haven't seen that second crop of quarterbacks yet, to where some of the old XFL guys might be sitting in that second crop of guys that they just didn't take. And so it'll be interesting to see. Lou Holtz was an Ohio State guy. Lou Holtz actually was he won the national title at Notre Dame, South Carolina for a little while. Legendary coach, just fantastic. I'm a Maulers fan until XFL and a Battlehawks return. Hoos, glad to have you here. Let's see here. I'm from Toledo, lived in Shaker Heights for a while. Know exactly where you're from, Carolina Fight Club. And good to see the Northwest Ohio represent well here. Will be good enough for me until the XFL. Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. I think that we're gonna have some really, really fun football here, and I think that you'll be surprised with that. Let's see what else we got going on. Still need 5 more rounds, and it's supposed to end in 30 minutes. I know. I was like hoping that maybe I could get in. So what I wanted to do, talk about the first round, and then kind of look through all the other rounds and see if we could find guys that I kind of knew and I could talk about, and then hopefully pick up those quarterbacks and kind of finish out with the quarterbacks. But right now we are so far behind. So let's see here. Really bad start for the USFL. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it's really bad start. There's not as much pizzazz and name recognition for the alternative leagues. But then again, I'm not saying that. I think that the football might be better than what you think. And, we always look back and we look at, PJ Walker, Jordan Teamu, and, and that type of a thing. And, these are guys that were made household names because they balled out. And I think we're going to get some, Brian Scott. I don't know if you watched him play in the spring league. The dude balled out. And I think that you're going to see some of that with some of these guys. Even though I'm not a Shea Patterson fan, he has the ability to really do that. And I think a lot of these guys are. Let's see here what you said. A lot about the quarterbacks, except for the one complete unknown. These were not the top quarterbacks available, so they must just not be interested in the league. I get what you're saying there. I don't know. I'd like to see who the other. No, Luis Perez. He's a guy. So Luis Perez is now starting to get a little bit on the older side of things with it. And I wouldn't be surprised if you didn't find him in that second tier. If you remember, he was a guy that kind of got pushed out by Josh Johnson and then took over in New York. And he is kind of a baller, a gamer. I do like Scott. Yeah, Scott, definitely, Surfer Boy. And Surfer Boy, glad to have you here. Let's see here. Isn't paying up for quarterbacks where the XFL will be, so they are expected to get the much better quarterback talent. Expected, but I don't know. We need to really just right now just sit back and just kind of pump the brakes on the speculation. And I know that's what we like to do, and what I like to talk about and give my thoughts in that with it. I think sometimes we're reading too much into this USFL things and some of that. I'm just telling you, if Fox can pull NFL legends, if they can pull WWE superstars, if they can pull NASCAR race car drivers, Major League Baseball stars, if they can pull stars from all of these to introduce their quarterbacks, I think that we need to give them a little bit of a benefit of the doubt. Just because they didn't do things like the XFL did, back in 2020 doesn't necessarily mean that, we've got to assume these things, or just because we haven't seen those quarterbacks mean that we assume those things. And the other thing is that these coaches are acting as the general managers. So it could be that they're wanting these guys, and it's not necessarily that's the best guy that we think is available, and maybe these guys think that they're better than what they got. Now, who knows? Could be that the guys are just sitting out because they're not getting the money. And the other thing is they could have told some of these guys, no. I don't know. I can look back on it, and I can see there's a lot of the quarterbacks that were in the XFL that the USFL probably doesn't want because they were older guys. I mean, and some of them I wouldn't want right now. Cardale would be a guy that you might want to pick up, but then again, he's starting to get on that older side of things. And right now, the oldest guy they got in there is 28, and he's a guy who has spent some serious time in NFL camps. Now, Cardale was a guy who spent a lot of time in NFL camps, but we'll see. Had a good preseason. Yeah. So Kyle Laletta, he definitely was in the Browns camp. Like I said, these guys have NFL experience. Can't see what is the same in the same season. I watch USFL and go to the games. More football is good for me, and I think it'll be good for all of us. And I think that they're really going to put some good quality football on the field. I really, really do. Let me know. I still want to know if anybody knows if any college players have been taken yet in the draft. So we're going through and looking at these guys. Let's see here. Is there anybody else besides quarterbacks that you guys are excited about here? Let me know that down in the chat too. Let's see here. Let's see here. Foxden says, I think Clayton Thorson will be good. I think that he will definitely be good too. And like I said, I think running Sumlin's offense is going to be a really interesting thing for him. Let's see here. I agree. This is solid. Quarterbacks are terrible. I just expected a little better quality. Wait to see. Yeah, I'm following it on Twitter and trying to also get the information. So if you follow it on, they've got actually a draft ticker on Fox Sports' website, and they are kind of, the nice thing is they're telling you who they are, and they're giving you information on the guys with it. So it is kind of not everybody, but the notable guys. They're definitely giving information, and I will say that I am pretty impressed with just a lot of these guys having NFL talent, serious talent, and I probably agree with you that that a lot of these guys are going to be solid. I think that these teams are going to be solid. Do you think that the Twitter followers mean anything because they only like? That seems extremely low. I don't know. I'm not really much of a Twitter guy. They've just been using it, so I've been kind of on there. And I do had Twitter, and I've been on Twitter for a while. I don't know. For me, Twitter's just kind of one of those things to where it's. I don't really get into it. Fun, cool little thing here and there, but yeah, I'm excited for tomorrow when Garner and Devion Smith are picked. It would hopefully both of those guys get picked. I'm a real fan of Devion Smith, especially with his time, what he did in the XFL. I mean, the guy was pretty awesome. Not a big Twitter guy either. Was just curious. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to say. I know that they've slowly been growing, and they really haven't. So that's the thing that's why I say pump the brakes on the whole XFL, USFL thing. The XFL did something that nobody's ever done before. They really utilized social media and the media outlets that they had. Remember, this is before COVID. This is at a time when, the social media was huge, but it wasn't how everybody interacted. COVID made all of us interact online. We had to do it that way. And so people then really shifted and switched everything to that way. Whereas before it wasn't that type of a case. So to see the XFL doing what they were doing and giving us the access that they did was just, it was unprecedented. We'd never seen it before. And so you actually got to not only see these guys, in kind of these little spotlights that they wanted you to see them in, but they gave us the ugly too. So they gave us the behind the scenes. They gave us the fights. They gave us the breakdowns on the sidelines. They gave us that insider access for free on social media. And we ate it up. We loved it. Why? Because we wanted more football. We wanted to get more into the game. We wanted to get more in depth. And the XFL finally gave that to us. We've never seen that before. And we really haven't seen it since. And Fox is old media. You've got to remember that. Not that they're not going to do, they're utilizing Twitter to do their draft. They're utilizing Facebook to do their draft. They're utilizing all of these other entities, but it's because they've been built up. It's not because that's their first choice. Remember, they're old media. Fox owns this. So it is Fox News. It is Fox Sports. Who owns this league, and you got to remember that. So when you're looking at things and comparing it to how the XFL did things and saying, well, they're not this, and I don't know. They've really held things back and then given us information. Now, sometimes it's like crazy and they just kind of whatever. And, I don't know, you can take it and look at it how you want with that. But it's one of those things for me to where I just kind of try to pump the brakes and understand we're dealing with a different entity. And, I don't really know. Once we survey the scene and look at things, well, we can kind of go from there. But I don't know if guys are really holding out for the XFL in that. I mean, just to be frank with you, if I can make what they're saying that they can make and play the game that I want to play, it's going to be hard to pass that up, because I can tell you most of these guys are not going to be. Most of these guys have not put the time and energy in. Yeah, they've got some of them have degrees, others of them don't. So they're not going to get those big jobs where they're going to be making $60,000, $80,000, $100,000 a year at a desk job somewhere using their degree. That's just not going to be it. A lot of these guys, unfortunately, they're going to be probably in sales positions. They're going to be in retail. They're going to be possibly that's where probably a lot of these guys are going to fall if they've got to work. And that means that they're going to have to work and figure things out to get themselves there and also continue to train. Not that they're not going to get opportunities and not that they can't make money or that with it. I'm not completely there that they're holding out for a better XFL experience. I don't know. That's just my thought. The other thing is the USFL, I still haven't figured out how they're trying to build this thing out. Are they really trying to make a young league, meaning that this is a league of players, that are kind of like 26 and under, like, their average age of their players is kind of like 24, 25 years old? Because if you do that, that puts them at most of your players being somewhere around, 2 to possibly 3 years out of college. So when guys are coming out as seniors, juniors and seniors, they're 21, 22 years old, possibly sometimes up 23, depending upon how their age falls. And that's not guys coming out early. That's just kind of guys sitting there. So you got these guys sitting at like 26 years old. So some of these guys are about 3 to 4 years out of college football. And so if your average, like I said, is about 2 to 3 years out of college ball, what you're doing is that you are building up talent. But I'm wondering if they're trying to find a sweet spot with these guys that would be either top tier college players and then trying to build something up, as opposed to, trying to get the best talent that's sitting there, and there's be some 30-year-old guy that's going to come in with veteran status that's really going to bolster this team, or they would rather just take a shot at this 25, 26-year-old gunslinger that, if they can just hone him in, is going to be a star for them. I don't know. That's kind of where I'm kind of sitting with some of this. Let's see here. I'll get back to some of the chat because I know I've been kind of ranting. Okay. Don't use Twitter, so I guess I'll wait for a more in-depth review here on YouTube. Yeah, was hoping for my XFL favorite. Yeah, Flowers. That's another one, but he's a guy who's been out for a little while. I thought he was really. I thought he never really got a fair shake in the XFL. They always put him in like these weird situations, and then he would do something really well, do something good, and then they would pull him, or they've never given him a real shot. What team are you rooting for? I kind of went through that a little earlier, but I haven't decided yet. I don't know. I've got about 3 or 4 teams floating around, possibly Panthers, possibly Breakers, possibly Bandits, Stars, probably about those 4. Almost like the minor leagues become kind of like side leagues for the NFL. They might, Bandits. We'll see. Seismic Glare, and going for the Panthers. It's close to me. I think I live in Missouri. Yeah, they could be quite possibly there. So I'm going for the Breakers. None of it's close to me, so I'm going to have freedom to choose. Yeah, you do that. Like I said, I don't know. I'm not necessarily going for me. I'm just going for the... Dude, hey, Jeremiah. Good. Glad to have you here, man. Hopefully things are going well for you in the draft. Let's see here. Are you going inside or outside linebacker? To where what rounds? Jeremiah, let me know what rounds you're going in. I'd really be curious to know, so we can definitely tell everybody to be rooting for you and looking for you. Perez, you wear a hat or a jersey? Perez, you wear a hat and jersey. Is that, if you're asking me, Michael Ayers, I don't wear jerseys. Man, it's kind of a weird thing. Like, I wear team shirts. I've got team shirts. I got team apparel. And I definitely wear hats. You always see me wearing a hat. With that, it's probably to help your guys' the glare out with my bald head. But one of the reasons I'm not gonna wear anybody's name. I don't know what it is. I'm kind of funny like that. I'm not gonna put somebody's name on my back. If it is, it's gonna be my own name. And my daughters both play ball, and I have no problem wearing their jerseys. But then again, their jerseys are gonna have my last name on it too. So technically, guess it's like my last name. But yeah, I don't do the jersey thing. Good night. They're expensive. But yeah, I'm not putting any other dude's name on my back. I'll root the heck out of them from sun up to sundown. But that's just kind of how I roll. It's kind of weird, I know. But us as fans, we're weird, right? Oh, cool. Ninja Cal, glad to have you here. Cal, let's see here. You should be a spokesman for the Maulers. I'll tell you what. You hook me up. You get them to contact me. I have no problem being a spokesman for them. And, hey, I think I'd look pretty good in a bluish, purple, orange color. So it's kind of funny. And I'll just tell this story here while we're, while I'm sitting here. So I like blue. Green's my favorite color, and for some reason I've always ended up like around orange teams, and orange is probably my least favorite color. I've come to just kind of embrace it and just have to push through, and I love the color orange because the town in which I pretty much live around, I've grown up. Well, I'll just tell you, I've grown up around Bowling Green. I've gone to tons of BGSU games, you name it. I've been there. Hockey, basketball, football. I've been to tons of BGSU stuff. Orange. I went to the University of Findlay, the Oiler. I was an Oiler. Black and orange. My girls, they go to a school where it's black and orange, and it's just, I'm just there with orange. So I'm always around orange. So I've kind of come to embrace it. But I tell you what, you get me a hook up there, and I have no problem being a spokesman for them, and I'll wear the heck out of their apparel. Go with whoever drafted Kyle Stolter. He was my Vikings practice squad for a while, and he was a preseason legend. Pip, why was he a preseason legend? I apologize. I don't know him very well, but this sounds very intriguing. I was a Seattle Dragons and Utah Stallions fan, but now I don't know who to root for. Being from the West Coast, it's hard. That was yeah, Carolina Fight Club. No, it's actually University of Findlay. It's UF. It's not FU. And it's funny because it used to be Findlay College. Dude, Carolina Fight Club. That's pretty cool that you're an Oiler alum as well. That's pretty neat. It's kind of funny. So my wife went to Ashland University, and you know probably from going to the University of Findlay that there's a rivalry there. So it's kind of funny. We have kind of that, that type of a rivalry in our household between Ashland and Findlay. He was a preseason legend in Denver too. He was like the best stats over for a preseason quarter and never played a snap in the regular season. Oh yeah, definitely that would be a legend right there. Let's see here. 1994. I would have been 07. So Carolina 07. Let's see here. Cal, I would definitely say, like, I have Seattle Dragons apparel. I definitely bought it. I love their logo. I love the way that the colors. And yes, they had orange in there. I've gotten to no. Like Carolina Fight Club, you're not old. Not at all. Yeah, Pip. Now you got me like wanting to root for the dude. And I do kind of enjoy the Breakers. So their logos and their stuff. So it makes me like with him being a preseason legend. Hey, no problem. Always. Yeah. So Jeremiah, man, if you're still around, dude, let me know which you are signed up as, if it's the inside or outside linebacker. I'm kind of curious. Hopefully, we kind of know where you'll fall and end up. Because we'll try to keep track of everything with you. As the draft goes on. See here. 100% like being a shadow boxing champion. He has potential, and I think he could thrive in a league. Like, that's the thing. Like, these guys can really thrive. And if you remember, all of the guys that got recognition from the XFL, they all earned it. And PJ Walker, remember we were talking about like how he and Connor Cook could be in this like this thing, where he could lose his starter position because he was doing so well, and then he just got on the field and never looked back. I mean, it was amazing to see. Orange Crush 7, still hoping for the Denver Gold to join the league at some point. Till then, I'll have to find a team for this year. Being a diehard Broncos fan for 35, maybe the Stallions. Yeah, I mean, it's a easy fit there. The Denver Gold. So they've already, and I don't know if you've seen this or not, they've already trademarked that. So I would imagine that if they continue on, especially as things open up after COVID, they've got to open things up as we go on. But as I think that you will see Denver could become a place, because it's one that they've already opened up there, or it could, we'll see. Yeah, we got another one, Ninja Cow, go Denver, True Cal, but there are what in this league is people who don't have a chance. So him dominating preseason competition is what he will be facing in this league. Yeah, I mean, he could. I mean, it could be that. And also, too, like, I'm just going to come out and say it. I think the best thing that the NFL did was get rid of half of the preseason games. I think what they could do better is get rid of all preseason games. I think meaningless football is just that. It's meaningless. And what it does is put people in harm's way when they don't need to be there at all. I mean, I get it that it gives them a chance and an opportunity when the stakes are not on the line to get their teams together. That's fine. Do scrimmages. Do, those spring games where nobody tackles each other, how they do it in college football. And then when you get the pads, when you truly start hitting it, make it matter, because not everybody's going at the same speed, and these coaches are not opening up their playbook. They're wanting to see how a guy in kind of a live situation, but it's not really live, to where preseason, the only reason why I even watch it is to see those guys that I think might be good, that I know from college, and from that is about it. So it's about 1 or 2 weeks that I might be interested in it, and that's very, very little. And from there, I kind of move on. It's real live game application that I really want to see. Now, I know that, again, that's against what a lot of people would put, and it's against the model that the NFL has. And the NFL is one of those things to where they understand that, and they very much are not wanting their guys to get hurt. So you're going to see them, sit guys. You'll see guys. I mean, we've done it. We've seen it for years where guys sit during preseason, because they've got some lingering injury. Then all of a sudden, week 1 they're fine and ready to go. You're always going to have that. And this is the crazy thing, is the NFL doesn't want to. Guys that they want, they hoard them. They hoard them on the practice squads, and they keep them there just in case they need to bring them up. And, they don't want anything happening to them, because they might need them if something happens to their guy. And so as I'm like, going through it, it kind of is frustrating, because you have these really talented guys that never get an opportunity, because either they're sitting in a place where they never actually get to ball out, like a PJ Walker, or they're just in a bad situation, meaning that they fall under, just they don't fit with the coach, they don't fit with the coaching scheme. There's a lot of that, to where I really like the fact that we have the USFL and the XFL, because it gives all of these guys an opportunity to show what they got, to step up and shine. So I really, really, really like that. Getting an arena team, that's kind of cool. Let's see here, Pip. Agreed. The NFL needs like one preseason game, in my opinion, and that's for the QBs like Stoller and others who are fighting for roster spots. Like I said, even roster spots, I mean, it's rare. It's really rare that a guy in a preseason game, that's where he makes the team, right? It's more like, what they're doing in practice and things like that. Now, positional players, who knows, maybe that's more of a thing there. But really, for me, I'm kind of I'm not sitting there with it. Let's check back on Twitter here. Let's see where the USFL's sitting at. Because we really been picking it up. Hey, finally we've made it to the 8th round. So we've only got 4 more rounds to go before we get back to the quarterbacks, and the draft's already supposed to be over. This thing's taking way longer than probably what they thought, or who knows, maybe it is over. They're just slowly putting all this stuff out, and all the guys have already gone home, or they're packing things up, and the media guys that are sitting there plugging away, posting all this stuff, are still out there putting all this stuff up. So I don't know. I feel for them. Let's see here. Devontae Ballsby. He was the 3rd pick of the 8th round. Let's see here. Channing Strobling. 2nd pick. R.J. Young. This is the first draft selection card. That's kind of cool that they put the draft selection card up there. First round was Delrick Abrams Jr. Out of Colorado. He was the first pick there. Brian Scott. Kind of cool. They're doing Outkick has got an interview with him there. So we're in the cornerbacks. We'll be in the cornerbacks for the next three more rounds after this one, and then we'll be finishing up with the quarterbacks. So back to Twitter here. Going through a look at some stuff. Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool that Big E announced Jordan Ta'amu. I think that was pretty awesome. Let's see here. Okay, anybody excited about any of the draft picks so far that have happened besides quarterbacks? I'm curious if anybody's like tipping any of the needles for you with these guys that have been picked. Big E was cool for sure. I'm a wrestling fan. Pip, I'm definitely a big wrestling fan. WWE has not been doing it for me of late, and the AEW has kind of gotten the storylines have not been as fun as what they've been in the past, and I've been waiting for it to pick up. Now I know that Revolution's kind of their big deal, so they're kind of starting to ramp up for that. That's going to be coming up, I think, in March. But yeah, it's kind of been a lull for me. It's I don't know. I watch AEW much more than WWE. If you can make it through a whole WWE show, like, applause for you there. I try to, like, I'm not like, oh, like I'm an AEW guy, I'm a WWE guy. I'm just a good wrestling fan guy, and WWE has really good wrestling, but it's hard to watch all of the back and forth, the 50-50 booking, the guys having to get over on the other guys, and WWE will not create any new stars. They won't let a guy just jump up and become a star, whereas the AEW's allowed that to happen. I mean, if you look at Britt Baker pretty much has people eating out of the palm of her hand, or, Adam Cole was huge. You thought he was huge in NXT, but now he is just exploding in AEW. Let's see here. I want to be, but I don't know who got who. I'm kind of there with you, Seismic Glare. I'm like these guys. I really want to get excited about them, but I don't really know a whole lot about them, and these are the positions that they picked right now are the essential positions. Like these are the are the behind the scenes kind of guys that keep everything running and going, but nobody really ever talks about. Now the edge rushers, I can tell you, when you start to get to where these guys show what they can do, names will start jumping out at you. But until then, it's kind of like a wait and see. These are the backbones of the team that you need. but these aren't your flashy guys to where it's kind of like you need some time to just sit back and look at it. Yeah, I'm a huge Britt Baker fan. After that match that she had, I think it was the St. Patrick's Day match that she had with Thunder Rosa, she stole the show. And if you're not a wrestling fan and you kind of, I mean, it was just awesome. Like, she literally has a crimson face of just blood, and she just gets up and smiles right into the camera. It was fantastic. Like, she won me over that day. How about a new wrestling league being created without things being predetermined? Yeah, that's kind of like, I mean, I don't know. That's kind of already out there. You've got the, UFC for mixed martial arts, and a lot of different things. So, I mean, it's like, are you thinking like professional wrestling to where like they kind of go out there and they kind of make it up as they go? I mean, it needs to be kind of scripted though, and that's part of it. Is I love the fact like why I watch wrestling is like it's cool to see the feats that they do and these these amazing athletic moves that they're pulling off and stuff, but also too it's just the storylines and it's fun to boo a guy like MJF and and to cheer on baby faces and just be able to just kind of get lost in it as they're telling this story of these grandiose things that would never happen in real life. I mean, I kind of get you, but I'm like, that's why I like wrestling, to like get away from real life and just fall into this like pseudo kind of world for a little while. And you know what? I'm fine. I'm totally okay in my skin with being hokey and goofy and cheesy, like, and I eat all of that stuff up. So, but I do get like, is that so? Cal, if I get me right, are you thinking like something like UFC more, or are you just talking about like professional wrestling, but like they kind of figure it out on the fly and you don't have like everything already like predetermined before they go out there. They just kind of read the crowd and kind of go, kind of like off script, so to say. Oops, are cookie cutters, in my opinion. They need to come with a new formula. I came across your channel a month ago, and I've enjoyed every bit of it. Dude, Joseph, thank you very much. I really do appreciate it. It's been kind of nice to get just, like, I love creating content, and I love doing, doing this. I do want to answer Cal real quick, and then I'll get back into that with it. So, Cal, I do want to ask, have you tried AEW? I'm just curious, because if you haven't, check out AEW. So Joseph, I do want to say thank you very much. And I love creating videos. I love creating content, and I love talking about the things that I'm passionate about. And it's just fun and interacting with everybody. Like, you guys come up with so many better things than kind of what I ever can kind of come up with and think about. But man, it is crazy. We are, let's see here, where are we at on the draft? We are almost done with the 8th round. Shoo. I don't know, and I thought that the NFL draft was laborious, but this one's getting that way because it's like I just want to, like, you know what I mean. You just want to get to those second tier quarterbacks so we can kind of see things, because I've been kind of sitting here like kind of waiting, like, okay, we got these first tier quarterbacks, but I want to see the second guys picked because I want to see if some of those XFL guys fit in there or if they just didn't sign with the USFL. You know, it's kind of, you want to see that. Let's see here. I can tell you what makes me smile more than most in football is seeing a strong O-line not being penetrated through the majority of the game. Yeah, Seismic Glare, trust me. I with the O-line, I mean, when you looked at especially that Super Bowl, if if the Bengals can just get a little bit of protection, to Burrow, I think that they're going to have that. It'll be pretty interesting. Cal, if you seriously AEW, check them out. They're on TBS on Wednesday nights at 8, and also on Friday nights at 10. I don't know if it's TBS or TNT because I always record it and watch it, so I have it all set to watch. You can also watch their stuff on their YouTube channel. They usually put a lot of their content up there. And they put like shows out on so like their second tier guys, they have hours of wrestling content that you can watch on YouTube with storylines and things like that. But they're more the second tier guys. Wednesday nights their main show, and Friday nights they're kind of their second tier show. But both of those right now are probably the best shows to watch. I was kind of into Impact there for a little while. I haven't really been into Impact as kind of I was when Kenny Omega was kind of the champ and doing kind of this crossover thing and collecting belts, and then after he left, they kind of continue on with some things, and I thought it was pretty cool, but it's kind of fallen off for me there. But AEW is definitely probably the best right now. Pip, highly recommend. Yeah, I mean definitely. I rate the Super Bowl at a 65. The Super Bowl for me, I would say I would be probably somewhere around there. I would maybe go like 69, just because the fact of like it was a great back and forth game. Like it was a back and forth game. It wasn't a great game. It wasn't like they drove the ball down and guys stopped them and this and that. It was just like a punt. Okay, we got a touchdown here. Oh, we got a touchdown here. It's just a close game. It wasn't like it was a great game, but the thing that really bumped it down for me was just the officiating at the end. It was like they were going to let the Rams score. They were determined that the Rams were going to score. They were going to give them the opportunity, and not that. I mean, I'm not one of those people that are. I'm not going to sit here and like, argue with you or, say that the refs lost the game for them. I mean, they had ample opportunities to win that game. But they don't throw any flags until that last drive, and they pretty much kept that drive alive like 3 or 4 times. And after that, for me, it was just kind of like, eh. And so it took it from probably something like an 84. And with the refs throwing the flags like they did there at the end and, doing that to the Bengals, that kind of took it down to 69 for me. So, but the 65, I'm totally there with you. I think the refs they got too involved into that game at the end of the game. For the way that they called the game, the whole game until literally the last, 3 minutes of the game, they did a disservice for them. Let's see here, Cal. I will jump back and check out AEW. Haven't watched wrestling since 2000. Yeah, wrestling's a lot different than it was in 2000. You might like it, you might not. I don't know. I'd say give it a couple weeks try. You might be surprised with what you find. I think AEW will probably be. If you liked wrestling back in 2000, it'll probably be more likable than what WWE is doing right now. WWE is very much more of a watered down, big hype, big arena, kind of a show type of a fest. Kind of like these short little stints of things here and there, very much kind of back and forth. Not a lot of fan interaction with things and stuff. Not terrible, but AEW for me it just seems to fit. Let's see here what Joe says. Do you think if the USFL draft was televised, this would have been less boring? Maybe. I think part of the problem is I don't know if they could have gotten through it. Maybe that's why they did the media the way they did it, or they just kind of felt like, with all the guys that they have, that there's not really that big of a push to really be like, oh my gosh, these guys are huge. This is the, blah blah blah, and get excited about all these guys that nobody knows about. Maybe that might be it. I don't know. That's kind of my thoughts. I don't think it would have fit really well on TV. I think what they're doing with the Twitter feed thing, I think it's going really well. It's just going off the rails nuts, and it's hard to follow. And two, when we don't really know the guys. So we're in the the ninth round. With it. So we're moving along. Let's see here. 8th round dudes. We had Delrick Abrams Jr. We had Channing Strubling, Devontae Ballsby, Tino Ellis, Adonis Alexander, Jamar Summers. Summers, I do know, if I'm not mistaken, Summers is one of those ballers from New York Guardians. Let me know if I'm wrong. If I'm not mistaken, I think that he was really, really good. That name does stand out to me. Brian Allen and Arlen Harris. Let me know in the chat if I am right, if that's the Summers who I'm thinking of. That would be really good. I think they should have done wide receivers, running backs after quarterbacks to keep people interested longer. I think that's why they didn't do them, because I think that they want to get some interest to following Twitter feed on Wednesday morning. That's why they only did the quarterbacks, the flashy quarterbacks, and they're going to do the rest of, the flashy positions tomorrow morning. That's why I think that they're doing it that way. I'm going to be checking out the Indoor Football League for the first time in March until the USFL kickoff. Yeah, Joseph, I don't, I haven't really put a lot of stock in a lot of that, and I haven't really paid a lot of attention. And I know that they kind of continued on through COVID when others kind of split and didn't. So it'll be interesting to kind of, see with some of that. I probably won't get a whole lot into that, but I think that that's definitely something that I think if you're into that hybrid football, I think that you'll really like it. I've tried it a few times, for instance, with fan-controlled football. It was kind of like a neat little thing to kind of watch for a little bit, but it was just really hard for me to get into. And that's kind of the same thing with the indoor football league. Maybe if I was playing, maybe that might be a different story. If I was in it, it's hard. I want football. I want the strategy game of football. And so, but I hope it works out for you. I really do. It's just, I've tried it multiple times, and I keep trying to convince myself, and I could just never really get myself fully into it. But you have that, for each person to his own, type of a thing. So let's see here. Yeah, here we are almost a half an hour later, and oh man, we're sitting in the 9th round. Halfway through though. Question, New Orleans, do we like I like the whole NOLA thing. Is that kind of cool? Are people liking that? And two, for me, someone who has a hard time pronouncing things anyways, I think that that's a little bit better. A man likes what he likes. Yeah. Unfortunately, I'm kind of one of those guys. I kind of find what I like, and I kind of just, stick with it, and kind of not much else, happening there with it. Well, let's go ahead and gonna go through and run through some of these other these other rounds. And let me know down in the chat if any of you guys have, some of the other guys that are sticking with you. Let's see here. But do you think the USFL is generating more buzz than the XFL 2.0 at this point? I don't know. I think that they're gonna be just fine. I really do. I think the USFL they're going to make it through season 1. I think that they're going to have some dynamic play for some dynamic players. I think that that Fox is going to promote the heck out of this thing. I think that it's going to get more eyes on it because Fox owns it and they've got free advertising on all of their networks, and they've got NBC as a partner in this thing. I think that they've got a leg up when it comes to the, that the XFL had with that, because the XFL had to kind of like get everybody interested in their football. And, I think that they don't have to necessarily have the talent. I think that they're going to have, because the reality of it is that, when you go into wherever it is, your local sports bar to go have lunch, to go have dinner, they already have Fox Sports on, FS1, FS2. They already have the Fox networks already on there. They're going to have NBC already on there. And they're going to be taking time out of their shows to talk about these games, to review these games, to go over and do that. And they already have it built into their programming to where it isn't like they have to make, it isn't like where the XFL is trying to get, ESPN to allot time to review their games and to promote their games, or, to get Fox to promote their games and to put their games out there. They already have the outlets for that. So where it's already they've already got a leg up when it comes to that type of a setting. To where I think it's just a little bit different. I think up front we're not getting as much social media coverage, but I think once we get it, once the Super Bowl happened, all of a sudden you saw Fox just start to put out everything about the USFL. You saw, you started seeing ad upon ad upon ad for it. And I think now that they've got more that they can brand and more that they can kind of put together, they can start talking about. I think you're going to see more and more of their shows starting to talk about it. I mean, like I said before, when you've got NFL legends, when you've got MLB All-Stars, when you've got NASCAR All-Stars, when you've got WWE Superstars, and who are introducing your quarterbacks, they're already putting that in there, and that's just for Twitter. Think about what they're going to do now with their shows. I mean, what they did with their draft show, put it on their, one of their primetime shows at 4 o'clock. They've already put stuff on The Herd with Colin Cowherd. I think they're going to be doing more breakdowns with that stuff. And, I wouldn't even be surprised if you even saw probably like some type of weekly programming where they actually break that stuff down, to where I think that that's going to be what kind of sets it off. I'm really only a football fan. I've always had a hard time getting into any other sports. I have not had that trouble. So I've always been mainly a football fan. I love basketball, played basketball up until my freshman year of high school, and that. So always been a huge basketball fan. I love basketball. Baseball, played baseball, ran track, getting into things. Baseball is just really slow for me to watch and follow. If something's on the line, I'll definitely watch it. If I'm driving down the road, the Indians were on, I would listen to them. I'm not a fan of the Guardians thing. I do not like what they're doing with that, pandering and it just changing the name and doing all of that. You will not find Guardians gear on this guy. Sorry, you can take that for whatever it's worth. I'm going to be an Indians fan through and through, and that's just how it's going to be for me. But then again, I can live without sports, and I can make those decisions, and that some people can't. They have to have their football fix. They have to have that, and that's totally okay. But yeah, Racing, I used to be a huge NASCAR fan, but NASCAR's just gotten really, really watered down of late. Everything's just kind of like homogenous. The racing just isn't there for me anymore. As soon as I went to this whole chase thing, I never really bought into it, never really liked it. I like the fact of you have a race, you had the points leader and, going for the championship and the guys that were leading for the points, but that week was about that race. And, oh yeah, these guys are a certain style. You got to tune your car to do this way. And a lot of that has gone by the wayside with it. It's just not as fun to me anymore. But I used to love NASCAR. On that, let's see here, dude. Drew, glad to have you here, man. I love you too. Let's see here. Can't wait for more football. Basketball just isn't doing it lately. Yeah. Yeah, I'm really been a struggle with with trying to keep up with trying to be with the NBA or whatever. College basketball, I definitely kind of keep my eye on college basketball. March Madness, when we get into the conference tournaments and things like that, that's when I really, really start to actually watch games and tune in. But usually I keep up with how teams are doing and stuff, especially like my Buckeyes and things of that nature. And I've been, because my girls play softball, I've been getting more into college softball and watching that. We watch a lot of the college softball, and it's fun because, we get to, it's cool because, like, my daughter's pitch, so it's kind of cool to watch, the girls in college level pitch, and then, they mimic that, and so that's really a neat thing. ML Lockout, I think, helps spring football. Yeah, I mean, it really, really does. I like something that not many people discuss. I'm a big monster truck guy. That's part of my Fix for Entertainment. Hey, that's cool. Yeah, I'm not kind of been that kind of guy, but like that's pretty awesome. I'm just curious, what is it about monster trucks that makes you kind of I don't know, kind of puts it there for you? Like to know. Let me know in the chat. So let's get back, see where we're at in this draft here. Did we make it to the final of the 9th round? Yes, we did. See if these are any guys here. Terrell Bonds, Tay Hayes, Will Likely, Derek Jones. Let's see here. Jamison Houston, Trey Alliston, Marcus Lewis, Devontae Davis. I don't know. None of those dudes ring a bell to me. But, hey, April 16th, we shall see. We're going to get some new household names definitely there. So, I think right now it's getting a little bit later here. See, Monster Trucks Live is something to behold. Oh, I bet, man. I've never seen it, but to have trucks like that and going through doing the jumps and smashing all those car stuff, that would be really something. I enjoy the community. Some are really cool people, and the stunts they can do are crazy. I really enjoy the sounds. Oh, dude, yeah. Man, yeah, I can definitely imagine that. That would, being there live would definitely be cool. No doubt about that. All right, let's see here. I'm going to hang on here. It's, for me right now, it's 10:33, about another 7 minutes. I'll stay on here, and then I'll probably call it a night. Got to be up early in the morning. 5:30 comes early. Let's see here. What's a better name change, Guardians or Commanders? I would definitely say that the Guardians is a better name change than the Commanders. I thought that the Commanders was lame, was weak sauce. I thought they could have done a lot better than that. I think that they should have just held out. They should have just kept the Redskins and just done that. But and I know why Snyder changed it. He's getting backlash from all fronts. and a lot of his big donors and stuff were calling for it, so he had to do something or they were going to pull out, especially with them being in Washington and how woke things are there. All just kind of where they're located, it makes sense. But yeah, I agree. Carolina Fight Club, they're both bad. I don't know. I guess my take is I guess more old school. I never saw naming a team. I never wanted to name team after something derogatory. I always looked for something strong, something that that you wanted to honor. That's why you named it that. So I don't get the whole taking offense by something being named after you, and I don't really know. Like Indians it's generic. It's just, like I said, I'm just old fashioned in that. And so when you see something named after something, maybe the Redskins, it's kind of like when they were doing the whole thing with Edmonton, Eskimos. I didn't know that was a derogatory term. I just thought that that's what they called that group of people. I could kind of get it, but the other thing too is that when you looked at a lot of these, like when Washington went through and did all their studies and they initially didn't change the name, it was because because it wasn't really there. Their studies showed that they weren't really offended by it, and that a lot of the communities were okay with it. So, I don't know. Drew, I love the bravery to say that both Commanders and Guardians are definitely not top tier names for the NFL. LOL at boy, Drew. They should came up with something different. Let's see here, both horrible changes, in my opinion. Yeah, but then again, what do you expect? We're going to get to the point now where you can't name a team. It's literally going to be like if you ever watched the show Community, it's going to be kind of like that. We're the humans, and it's this it doesn't have a sex and it just kind of looks weird type of this kind of human looking type of a thing. That's kind of what we're coming to these days. And it is kind of sad. Let's see here. In 15 years, the Giants gonna be, derogatory. Yeah, I don't know. And the other thing is it's like nobody ever says anything about the Vikings, right? Like this was a people that literally went around massacring other people, and we seem to be okay with that name. And a lot of it, if you ask me, a lot of it goes back to, it can be a political thing, because if we're really worried about that type of stuff, then the Vikings is a name that probably should really go, and that, but that's not what it's there for, and that's not what they're looking at, obviously, with it. Let's see here. Dan Harmon is so funny. Bandits just drafted Christian Campbell. There. When are they're coming off the board tomorrow, and who knows? At this rate, they might never come off the board because this is the slowest draft ever. So here, I thought the same thing about the Titans too. LOL. Yeah. Pirates too for that. Yeah. Again, like I said, it's a narrative thing. Yeah, he was the writer for Oh, community. Okay, that makes sense now. I had no clue with that. That makes total sense. Thank you for clarifying that for me, Carolina. Let's see here. Seismic glare. Whoever came after the Redskins will probably go after the teams in the future when they have nothing better to do, and that's usually what happens. If you notice, these type of people, the New York Taxi would be a safe name. LOL. No, that wouldn't. I think it would be. That's kind of a funny one. But you know that's the thing. Like, you know, people that, and if you notice, a lot of these people that are going after these sports teams and all this stuff, they're not the diehards. They're not the people that like go to the games, that, you know, that they're there for the football. They're there this, that. No, they're out for some other reason than to be a fan, and that's part of the problem. I don't think they understand fandom, because I think if they understood fandom, that they wouldn't be coming after these teams for being offensive, because they would know that the teams are named after something that they're trying to honor. And you know, it just goes to show you just kind of, you know, that again, that these are not fans, and these are just people that are you know, that are coming after it for other reasons. But anyways, let's see here, guys. It's 10:40 right now. It's getting to be a late night, and I'm going to probably go ahead and probably sign off here in the next couple minutes. So if you've got a if you got a question, shoot it now. I'll take the next 3 comments. I agree. Hey, I appreciate it, Seismic Glare. So, and let's see where we're at with this draft. We're halfway through the 10th round. That's pretty good. Is there Day? Les Wilkins. Let's see, Christian Campbell. Dominique Martin. Yeah. It's 7:40 over here. Yeah, well, hey, East Coast is what it is. So, I'll give you guys one more comment, and then I am out for the night. And listen, I appreciate every one of you guys for hanging it out with me here and us talking about this first round, and some of the other guys too. All right, man, take care. See you on the next video. Thanks, Seisman's Glare. Let's see here, Cal, I'll give you the last one. What's your overall takeaway from the USFL so far? Overall take so far, slow and steady wins the race. How about we put it at that? And so with that, I am out of here, guys. You have a fantastic night. Thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you for supporting the channel. Thank you for being here. And we'll see what tomorrow brings with stuff, and we'll try to start to break some of this stuff down and start to look at these teams. We finally have something that we can talk about that's actually tailored towards football, and I'm excited about it. All right, guys. Well, let's get on out of here, because I know that you're busy and I know that I'm busy. Have a good night. Bye.